What's up, everyone? Welcome to Midnight Motivation, a real and raw podcast about motivation, entrepreneurship, and achieving success. I'm your host, Tony Pec. Welcome back, everyone, for listening on into Midnight Motivation. I'm your host, Tony Pec, and I'm here with a special guest speaker today. And I want to give him a proper introduction and a very warm welcome. This is a good friend of mine. I met him over the powerful platform of social media called Instagram. And this man is more than just a man in the eyes of many people. He has won Mr. America, has won Mr. Olympia, has a multi-million-dollar chiropractor empire, has had one of my dream cars, I should say, a Lamborghini Murcielago. He is a man's man, is a great husband, father, friend, and he is the underwriter of people's dreams. I want to give a very warm welcome and a very special thank you to our guest today, Dr. Zaino.
Thanks, Tony. I appreciate you guys.
So, Doc, we've talked before, and I want to know if you can give the listeners a little gist about who you are, what you've done.
Right. So it's versus what I've done. You know, there's just been a couple different acts and phases in my life. You know, when I was younger, living up in New York, really into music and piano and everything like that, and did state competitions. Then, you know, my dad was built, right? So I wanted to be like my dad. So I just started bodybuilding about the age of 12, and by 21 won Mr. America. And then after that, I got a life-threatening or terminal disease called ulcerative colitis. And the docs are like, we got to remove your colon. You'll be on the drugs all the rest of your life. It was just a horrible, horrible diagnosis and prognosis. And that's when my whole world changed. That's when I just started, you know, really feeling like I had no more hope left. And then one person says, listen, you know, I know something that'll help you. And he had led me to chiropractic. And I'm like, there's no way this will help. This makes no sense. And he's like, well, you didn't try everything, because if you tried everything, you would have had your health. So I went there, and sure enough, within 7 months, my body had healed itself from incurable terminal disease. And then I went back to school to get my doctorate in chiropractic and extra education after that. And then in 2005, you know, I met my wife. We opened one of the largest clinics. It became the largest clinic in the history of the world. Seeing over 2,800 people per week would come through my office, and it was just amazing. It's still running today in Houston. I'm in Utah right now, but you know, now I'm in Act 3, where even though, like you said, Tony, I checked off all the boxes. So for people listening right now, you know, you might be like, well, that's awesome. Everything's cool. You want that job where you could call it your purpose. But even though you're living your purpose, and you still feel like you have these boxes to check off. But when you have boxes to check off, you live in a very conditional life, meaning that I'm not going to be happy until I check off this box. I'm not going to be happy until I have this much money. I'm not going to be happy until I have this car. I'm not going to be happy until I get a paycheck, kids, wife, whatever. And so, like you did, yeah, I mean, paid for a house, debt free, financial freedom, Lamborghini in the garage, everything was great.
But you weren't fulfilled,
dude. No, I was fulfilled, but there's fulfillment in doing your purpose for sure. But there comes a time where there's still an evolution. So like I felt like, hey, I checked off the boxes. I'm going to maintain this. I'm going to stay here. And I thought like, shit, I'll stay here. This will be great. But what I realized through experience, and we're now working with thousands of people around the world, there's no staying here. The life is never dynamic. No, life is dynamic. It's never stagnant. And so even though it's like, wow, this is great, I'll stay here forever. We're creative beings. We're always created to evolve. We're just to move past where we're at. And then I started feeling that pull. And that pull felt like depression. It felt like burnt out. It felt like being numb. It felt like being disengaged. It felt like waking up and not enjoying or loving what I had loved so much. And I didn't know what that feeling was, right? I was like, I'm not going through a midlife crisis. You know, I don't know why. I'm grateful. I'm not ungrateful. But I realized I was grieving my potential, meaning that there was just more inside of me. But because I was so comfortable, because I thought I had checked off the boxes, I was like, why would I leave this? My identity is here. So for me to move beyond into doing something bigger and really in a way that the world's never seen before, it threatened my identity, which was being the doctor, right? So for me to move past that meant actually losing that identity, where I call a secret identity. And it's scary, and there's unknowns, and there's uncertainty, and there's risks. But like you said, Tony, there's fulfillment, joy, happiness, and abundance, you know, along that journey. And that's the journey I chose to take. And I created the I Am Hero Project, where I work with, you know, people within their 20s all the way through into their 50s who like when you heard me talking right now, like you would resonate. Like there's something on the inside, like a beast in the cage. I'm feeling unfulfilled. I'm feeling like I'm grieving my potential. Like when I say those words, like it feels like I'm reading your email. I'm talking to you, and it's for those people that they may have not checked off the boxes, but they know they're destined for something bigger. But there's those fears and fogs in the way that I help them get through it, so they can actually live a life that they love to live versus trying to live this life that all of us were told we had to live. Tony, you and I talked about literally in school, teachers, preachers, education, society, dogmas, belief systems from our folks, we're raised to actually live out other people's values. We were told in school what to think and what to do, but no one ever took the time to say, Tony, what do you want to do? Exactly. What is your desires? And if you did speak out your desires, you were this young kid who was too young, and everybody wanted to speak realistic reality into you. Yep. Oh, no, don't be delusional.
Yep, goals are too big. You're crazy.
Yeah, right. And look at that. So it's really, and a lot of people may never realize that, but unfortunately, a lot of people realize that in their 30s and 40s, going, okay, I did. I got the job with the benefits. I got the wife. We're not,
got the house, got a wife, got a kid.
Yeah. And, it's not that great. Maybe she was the wife you got or the husband you got because it was that time to get married. Hey, Tony, you're 27. It's time to get married. Or especially for girls, girls there's this weird thing that society likes to teach. Like if you don't have children by 30, your kids can be retarded, which is absolutely not the case. So I think women have a lot of pressure to, it's time to have kids, time to get married. And so what we start to do is subconsciously, that next relationship, we really start to look away from the things that are not aligned with us, and we start to fit them in this mold. Guys do the same thing. We try to save the girls. Girls try to, hey, listen, no, he's good husband potential. And really he's not, because you never really found out who you were because we're living out other people's values. I'm dressing because so-and-so wants me to look a certain way. I have a job because someone told me or my family thought this would be good for me. But I never really had a chance to do what I desire to do, and therefore, if I'm not living out my true hero, who I was created to be, then therefore I don't even know who the hell I am. And now I'm inviting people like for marriage and long-term commitment. Yep. It's gonna be a disaster. It's gonna be
if you don't know who you truly are, you can't fully give yourself to that purpose because you're not really fulfilling your purpose. So you're kind of going half-ass.
Always.
So it affects everything in your life at that point.
Yeah, you're bringing a secret identity. You're bringing a false, less than watered down version of who you were created to be. Because the thing is, that's what happens when people start to what we hear the term wake up or whatever you want to call it. But no one's waking up. They're just saying, well, wait a second. Like, I like this. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. And they start really clarifying who they are, actually being reintroduced to themselves or who they were created to be. And then all of a sudden they realize this relationship was never right. And they start with this job. I was just hearing this girl was on a podcast right now, and she was going to law school. Why? Because none of her family graduated. Her dad wasn't able to read. So her going to law school she was the champion of the home, right?
Yep.
And then one day she had a full ride, and she's like, her husband's like, well, what do you really want to do? She's like, I just want to be a photographer, right? I mean, it just, exactly, she went that route. And by the way, today, she's like a massive influencer, killing it. But awesome. It just gets to the point where we feel like that was a perfect example where some of us feel that we need to do something to one up the rest of our family. To be hey, I'm
pressure. It's an overwhelming weight on your shoulders.
Yes.
Type of way. But like I said, if you don't go after your purpose, what you're actually meant for, you're not going to excel fully at that pressured purpose that's being put on you by your family or by society, because you can't give your all to something you're not really committed to. And I think the lawyer's a perfect example. I'm sure she's brilliant, but because she did the photography because it's her passion, she's able to make it successful because she could put her all into it because she's committed to achieving it because it's a purpose.
Yes, and here's the thing, because so imagine if we said that to our friends or family, they'd be like, "Come on, dude."
They're gonna laugh. Absolutely. That's like me when I started in college. I started that lip balm company. Everyone laughed at me. I was a big guy selling these little lip balm tubes. But it's not just about what you see at face value and, the financial gain all the time. It's also about stuff you can't learn by going to school. So you got to do stuff that you feel is right for you, because you can gain in more ways than just financially for these types of things.
You nailed it. So the thing, Tony, is someone's listening saying, okay, so how do I find something that I would love, enjoy, something I would find joy in, something I would find growth in, something I would find happiness in, but then at the same time, might be able to monetize it. And I think that becomes the conundrum, because I think there's that weird, again, it's that belief that we've been put into us that you can't have both.
Yep.
Right? Because we are associating like working and grinding, like we have to work really hard in a job we really don't like, and that's where money comes from, versus how about if we pick something we were truly enjoyed and loved and look forward to going, and then that would create more work and long distance, right? Because you would, if you enjoy doing it, you'll put in way more time than you would at work. You're not thinking about being someplace else. Many people at work, they don't realize they're sitting at work thinking about someday. And the thing is, like, as long as you stay in that state, you'll never grow.
Exactly. And I think you need to use, if you are in that life, you're at that point in your life and you're at a job and you want to do something else, but yet these people, they go to that job and they're negative, they're miserable, but they need to look at that job as leverage. You know, you go to work every day, even though you don't like being there, but you're happy and you're positive, and you use that job to look at the right things. You know, let's say you're at a good company, look at what's going on in the company to see what it takes to run a successful business. And then you also have the converse. If you're at a company that's not too hot or not doing so well, take what you see that a company shouldn't be doing. And then guess what? As you save up your money from working from that job and you're able to be working on your side hustle at night, and now it's fully a sustainable business that you can make enough monthly income to live, you go, you leave the business, you start your own thing. But now you have all this knowledge because you're able to firsthand at least see either a successful or a non-successful business.
No, you're so right, Tony, because check it out, right? Someone who doesn't enjoy their job, and when I coach them and I talk to them, you're absolutely right. They're talking about what they never liked about it, or how they don't feel appreciated, all this stuff. But it's like, even though if you might not like that, they're not reverse engineering the fact that they're working at a place that has 300 employees and it's collecting 500 million a year. You know, I mean, like, well, okay, so instead of bitching, start reverse engineering, going, what is the system?
Exactly. How do they make this work?
Yeah. So let's say I'm working for some tech or some, I don't know, anything company. And I'm like, and you're sitting there going, I want to do lip balm. And I now know the strategy. I know the scale that this company's doing. I could apply that to lip balm and have the largest lip balm company in the world. Yep. You know what I mean? So instead of sitting there, because I think, Tony, but what I think it is, I think people are lying to themselves because they're saying they don't like it. But then when it comes to saying, okay, well, do what you want to do. And then they back out of that. Well, no, you don't. No. Because why? It's comfortable.
No, you don't understand. I have a family. I have kids. I have bills. No, we understand. We absolutely understand.
You give me so it's like, then stop complaining.
Exactly.
Just
either complain. You can complain if you're doing something, or don't complain and then do nothing, and that's perfectly okay. And I don't make fun of a fat person in the gym, but if you're fat and you don't want to go to the gym and work out, then there's something off there to me. You know, if you have a 9 to 5, you still have, when you get home, let's say you're in the worst city in America, you have a 2-hour commute home. You get home at 7. You know, I get it. You want to have some dinner, maybe go to the gym. 9 o'clock, you're done. You're ready to go to bed. Okay. From 9 to 1, there's no reason you can't be working on a side business or doing research to start a side business, and wake up at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and just keep going. You know, you got to have that mindset, the tenacity to keep going.
And if you really look at the amount of work that you have at these desk jobs today, like, there's really, no one's really working hard. No. They're just in a spot. They're just in a spot they don't want to be. And you're right. But complaining gets addictive. It snowballs, So because you're complaining because there's 4 people around you are complaining. So now the people that you're surrounded by, it's just a bad situation versus, like you said, hey, listen, I'm not going to be here forever. This is a stepping stone. That's great. That's step 1. All right, this is just a stepping stone. I am better than this. I'm going to evolve out of this. So when I'm here, in the meantime, and how long I'm going to be here? As long as it takes me to be here, I'm going to figure out, I'm going to observe, I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to ask my manager some stuff. I'm going to be that really kind of curious person and really learn how this company that's clearly rocking and rolling did what they did. I want to know their story. I want to know the mistakes they made. I know what they're doing right. And as they're doing it, then it's like, and I'm going to leverage this towards whatever that is that you really feel like doing and loving and doing. And then, but the thing is, even when you find, everybody thinks like the grass is greener, but even when you find something you love to do, it's like you're still going to love to do it, but you're still going to go through you're still going to go through some blocks in the road. Like, it's all going to happen. It's nice that you love it because you're willing to stick it through a little bit longer. But to think I'm going to find my purpose and love it, and beautiful things will come automatically. Maybe or maybe not.
Exactly. And I think so this is something I believe in truly. If you're not a great employee at where you are, there's not much chance for you to become a great leader, because how you do anything is how you do everything in this life. So if you're at your job and you're miserable, you're not uplifting the spirits of others that you're around, and you're not, let's say, papers on the floor, and you don't pick it up because you say, hey, the janitor, the cleaning lady will pick it up. That's not something you should pride yourself on. Be like, hey, I'm just on my job getting by. No, you should excel at your job, even if you hate it and you're going to be leaving it. Because just by doing that, it shows your true character. And by seeing how much you can put into being a great employee, you can see, and then you'll know what you're looking for in a great employee. And then the other plus side benefit is, if you are positive every day going to work and you strive to be the best you can be, because that's where you are 8 hours a day, you might get a raise, you might get a promotion. And now I know some people might be saying, but Tony, the converse of this is, what if I put all this effort in for 6 months and I get no appreciation or praise? Well, guess what? Now you busted your ass. You learn how to be a phenomenal employee. You learn how a business runs well or how it runs negatively. Now you can take all that information and go start your own business. So it's not just, I'm going to give it all this effort and get nothing in return. You cannot think like that. You have to think, okay, I can put in all this effort, and no matter what, I will make a return out of it.
Well, yeah, I think the whole idea of like going in positive and just putting your best, stuff forward and output forward, it's beyond character. Totally. Because the thing is, like, it's about character, meaning that if I get a raise or not, it doesn't matter. Like, that's how I do things. Mm-hmm. And I think it's like building, it's a discipline. It's like building a muscle. So, if I go in and I clean toilet bowls and I don't like it, but I clean behind the toilet bowl because I'm going to just do it the best way I can. I'm not going to cut corners. Like, the thing is, like, I'm building resolve in myself.
Yes.
So the next thing when I go for, I'm going to have this discipline muscle in me that'll be unmatched. And then any employee that I do hire, it's like, you don't understand. I don't just clean the toilet bowls. I clean behind the toilet bowls. And the reason, that's my theory. Like, what I mean by behind the toilet bowls, understand this, guys. People could clean the toilet bowls, but they clean the areas you see. They clean the areas where you see piss and shit on it. But it's like behind it, where there's dust and where the pipe, like, no one sees that. So it's easy to say, I'm
going to leave it alone.
No one's going to notice.
Yeah.
So it's like, even though I might be the only one who looks behind the toilet bowl, I'm the one who's going to clean. You know why? Because I pride myself in the work I do. Exactly. So this is like you said, you're building something. It's training. It's the Karate Kid. Yep. Why am I waxing this freaking car? Why am I painting this damn fence? Mm-hmm. It's like, well, it's because it's teaching him later on. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. But it really counts. These lessons I learned, or my work ethic I put in, even not enjoying it. And like you said, when you become the boss should be the one willing to clean the toilets.
Exactly.
And showing and living by example.
But that doesn't make you a boss. That makes you a leader then, and you become almost a servant type of leader. And I think that's how people run successful businesses. And I think a lot of businesses that do fail in the U.S., it's mainly because it's a lot of people with that mind that they want to leave that 9 to 5. They're fed up. They hate it. So they start saving up money and they just go start a business. But when they were at the 9 to 5, they weren't positive or happy or energetic or doing the little things that count. And then it kind of trailed over to when they started their business, because now it's like, well, I don't need to do the little things. I have employees, number one. And number two, it's hard to be positive because I have so much shit thrown at me because I'm a business owner now. It's so much harder than I expected. So that's why I think a lot of businesses actually end up failing.
And a lot of the discontent, we just got to redefine the discontent. So, the complaining, I mean, I feel it's fine. I feel it's fine to get angry and pissed off enough to finally make the step, because that might be the thing they need to make the step. But let it be the anger and discontent because you don't want to work for yourself.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. You don't want to work for somebody else. You want to work for yourself, right? So
you got to refocus that energy in the right channel, pretty much.
Right. It's like the Navy SEALs, when they're doing Hell Week and those guys are they're exhausted and they're in the ocean freezing and kicking their legs, holding a log over their head. You always hear the coaches or the other guy, the captains and the sergeants going, just turn that into anger, because anger at least is that thing to get resolved. And there's somewhat of personal power, but it's anger to complete. It's anger to follow through. Now, I'm not saying you guys to be angry, but I do also understand. It's like, well, Dak or Tony, you don't understand. I can't stand my job. And it's tough for them to switch to the positive mode, but you got to be like, okay, well, you're going to get out of there. We know that. So in the meantime, that anger and discontent has to be because you want to be your own boss. So if you want to be your own boss, now you need to start looking on how to really run a business clearly. So when you go to work, you're not going to work for somebody else. Now, when you go to work, you're going to put in your best work for it, and you're also going to learn
Mm-hmm.
how that company runs their company.
You're like a spy almost when you go to work.
Right.
Well,
it's a bigger why.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, I'm not just going to work to pick up a check. I'm going to work to train my discipline muscle. I'm going to work to learn what school could never teach me. And I'll save a lot of time and money because I didn't have to, go through all the experience that this office went to. Oh, and by learning, I'm actually getting paid. So I don't even have to pay tuition. It's just all a matter of like reframing it. But I really think that they have to make the deadline. Like you said, if you're going to stay there and bitch and complain, you're done. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely 100% done. That's it. You might as well just, you're looking to retire and that's it. Like life's gonna.
And even if you're not looking to retire, it may just happen to be that you're never going to end up leaving that place because of the mindset you have.
But that stuff causes cancer. Being in the health profession, you don't understand. Like you said, like Tony was saying, just if you could find the positive in it, and let's say that was the only thing that changed. You still got paid the same. You never got a raise. You never got appreciated. Just the fact that you went in unpissed, compounded over time. Like when you're pissed off and angry, you got 100% chance of getting cancer, guaranteed. Because that's what cancer is. It's just a shit life. You're angry all the time. You're withdraw. Like you can't live in that atmosphere, guys, all the time. You're going to be burnt out. You're going to have adrenal fatigue. So, even if you just had a little bit better feeling about what you did. I know it's tough because you built a habit. So even if you wanted to work and say, all right, I just get to work, I have to think of 5 things I'm grateful for here. And just like it's almost becomes conscious, a deliberate intention and consciously intentive of like looking for the things you like because you build this bad habit. Even like Tony said, even if you go in and you change your positivity or it gets a little bit better, I mean, your health, your quality of life, your relationships, your body, everything will benefit from that. So, it just from that one aspect alone.
Yeah, because if you're there and you're positive so I think energy, whether you exude negative energy or positive energy, it takes the same amount of effort, So if you're at your job and you're being positive and you do want to start your own business, well, guess what? When you leave, I'm sure your relationships with the other employees have gotten stronger. And once you do go out on your own, you might have more support from people that you were working with now. But if you are constantly negative and angry at work, then I'm sure most of the employees are going to be like, oh, whatever, he's on his own. Like they're not going to want to support you or really embody what your mission is for you to leave. So I think, being positive just gives you so much opportunity no matter what you do. And I got a question for you, Doc. What would you say to someone that absolutely hates waking up in the morning to go to their job? Because I know it's a big problem for most people, and I have a unique take on it. So I wanted to hear what advice you would give to people that just can't stand waking up early. I have this 2-hour commute. I don't want to fucking go to work. I don't like this. They just can't get positive because of the earliness.
Because they're living a shit story. They're telling an old story. It's the old story, and they tell that story every single day. And what they got to realize is they have created that entire atmosphere. What I'm saying is like that entire scenario or stage. When I think of a set, right, a movie set, and it's the story of I'm waking up early. You could actually see the movie. They're waking up early, and they hate life, and they don't feel energetic, and it's whole thing like it's a script that they continually rehearse daily, and they think that all of a sudden someday something's going to change. Like they're freaking insane. Like you understand, all you're doing is you're clarifying. Like it's going to be Groundhog Day for the rest of your life. Yep. So it's the old story where I could take someone who has their same job and say, listen, and put someone in that equation, and they wake up and they're thankful they have a job. They go to work and they enjoy doing that, or they're, like you said, a little bit more positive, or they appreciative of the paycheck, or hey, I would love to have a relationship with that woman that you're with. Like all this stuff. Yep. Like someone would have an entirely different scene. So it's like it's rewriting the old script. And the thing is, like, there's no way I could emotionally and consciously focus on that old story or that scene and ever expect me not to create anything different. Like you can't create abundance, positivity from that story. So something's got to change, and it's not the circumstances. It's not me or you. It's not the workplace. It's not the commute. Like the only person who's in charge of creating the reality is that person.
You have to take ownership.
100% of the time.
Take ownership.
Like, nobody else. Like my boss. Nope, it's not your boss.
My teacher, I'm failing at school. No, it's not your teacher.
Not your teacher.
You know,
Like you chose to. Well, you chose to entertain it. Well, you don't understand. When I was a little kid, someone said I was stupid. Well, you chose to receive and accept
that you're stupid. You embodied it. That
like stop it. And I think when they take personal, but here's the thing: people love to deflect
Yep.
on circumstances because it takes the responsibility away from them
Yep.
and allows them to be a victim. And a victim is I'm a victim. And then a lot of people get significance from being a victim. They get love from being a victim.
Yeah,
Baby, I'm sorry.
Pity.
You know, like it just like why don't you stop? You can't be successful and be a victim. It's just like you can't live this old scene that you're creating.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you get out of it? Like I said, Tony, you're not going to wake up because you live this whole scene your whole damn life. You're not going to wake up and say, oh, okay, everything's different. No, it literally is sitting down and writing the new scene. Yep. I'm going to wake up with energy. On that commute to work, 2 hours, I'm going to get 2 podcasts in about a business I would love to start or something I want to do or increase my sales skills at work. So
positivity, anything.
Yeah, like that's going to be a university on train, if it's a train.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do that. And then whatever it is, like I'm going to go to work, I'm going to think, and then what would my ideal be like? I go to work, I feel energetic. I feel refreshing. I'm going to eat clean so I don't, I'm just not jacked up on caffeine. I'm going to get my work done. I'm distracted a lot. I get on Facebook. Mm-hmm. I do all these other things where I'm just going to set a half hour. I'm going to focus intently on what I do. I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to give the best work on there. And I'm going to do the best work because I do best. That's all I do is I put out best work. And you know what? People who are going to be negative, I'm just not going to associate with them. So I might have to get rid of some people or friends at work, or I don't go to lunch with them at work. Yep. And I'm going to protect my heart. I'm going to protect my mind. And you know what? I'm going to stay until I'm not going to shut down at 4:00 when we leave at 5. No, I'm going to work till 5. Yep. And then I got 2 more hours of podcast and great stuff. I'm going to listen to stuff that gets me excited. It might be a hobby or something I want to do. Then I'm going to come home and I'm going to enjoy my family. I'm going to put some, quality time into my kids, into my wife. And then, like you said, it's time for them to go to bed. And then I get to work on my hobby. I get to work on something that makes me feel good. So what is that? What is that for you? Like right now, you should be listening to this podcast at night. So you should be doing something that makes you feel good. So it might be that ridiculous thing that everybody thinks you're being ridiculous on doing and delusional, but no, I really enjoy this. This is what I love to do. And then you're doing the thing that you find joy in, growth in, and contribution. And then you're going to find a way to monetize it. But you don't pick the monetization over the joy, fulfillment, and contribution. So
the money will flow to you once you go on that track.
Always.
Exactly.
Oh, so that's the thing. So it's really rewriting that script. And if you have to write it down, because you have to break it. How are you going to break the pattern otherwise?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You're going to slip into it. You're going to slip into it so easily over and over again because you practiced it. It's a practice condition that you created, and it's going to take. Now it has momentum. So meaning that. So okay, Dr. Zaino, I did what you told me to do, and it's been 3 days. I'm just life still kind of sucks. Well, you got to understand there's momentum, right? So if there's momentum, if you created massive momentum over 10 years, well, we got to. There's still momentum going, but the power is now. The power is not what the past was. The power is not even the future. The power is now. So if I choose now and choose tomorrow morning when now is, and I could start repaving basically that story, and then you'll start to see things turn around. And when things turn around, I think you'll see opportunity that you wouldn't see before. That's a lot of times, Tony, like you see opportunity because you do stay in that positive frame of mind. So that you'll realize, well, this opportunity was always in front of me. How come I didn't see it? Because I think when it comes to your thoughts are really where your state of mind is, meaning that if I'm in the basement, meaning the lower level of thoughts, I only could think of certain quality of thoughts when I'm in the basement. But when I'm in the penthouse, on the top floor and I'm hanging around other penthouse people, so to speak, like you actually have access to creative thoughts that are the billionaire ideas and like, you know what I mean? Like you can't be in the basement. I'm trying to use an analogy. You can't be in the basement because all you're going to get is basement thoughts.
Yep.
So that's why as you rise your vibration, you rise your way of thinking and hang around different people, then you actually have access to the next level thoughts. That's hey, I got a great idea. Or what if this? Or you start getting excited about these what ifs versus when you live in the basement, it's just basement thoughts. And until you get out of the basement of thinking, you're not going to surpass, you're going to still get the same basement story.
You're right. I absolutely love that. I love that metaphor, the basement level, because I forget who I was talking. I was talking to someone the other day, one of my friends, and there's apparently like a psychological study. I don't know, maybe you've heard of it, Doc, but it's something that people only have 25 good decisions a day. So if you look at billionaires like a Mark Cuban or a Steve Jobs or and anyone else of that caliber, they wear the same outfits every day. They wear jeans and a t-shirt because they don't waste their time on a decision to get dressed. Now, I'm not saying for you guys to like just pick out and wear the same thing every day, but the point being here is if you're in the basement level, you only can take 25 good steps a day. So you have to make sure you achieve all those 25 steps every day. Otherwise, you're never getting out of that basement level. You'll never make it to the penthouse floor. It's just not going to happen. You only have so much, energy and positivity and good ideas you could throw out. So you need to harness all that together and make sure you utilize it to its fullest extent.
Yeah, it's called decision fatigue, right? So that's what they're talking about there, that you have all these damn decisions you need to make during the day. And in their case, to the extreme, like what you're going to wear, like that's taking energy, that's causing decision fatigue. Like having these minutia decisions you got to make daily, like what am I going to eat for breakfast, right? Like all these are minutia details that actually cause decision fatigue. It makes us feel busy, and when it comes, and they want to reserve that energy, so when it comes down to making a really important major decision, they don't have decision fatigue. They can really be clear about it, be like bam. So that's why they're very routine. I mean, you're so right. Like all of them do. It's that weird thing. They do have those same clothes, and
all of them do. It's hilarious.
Yeah, they do, man. But I really think it's not coincidence. I just think they learn from each other. I think they understand the concept of, wow, my job. Like they're going to see, like I need to make high priority decisions, and I'm making a bunch of low level decisions or basement decisions. I'm going to delegate those basement decisions out, or I'm going to eliminate those basement decisions, right? And then I'm just going to. So now I only make penthouse decisions. Exactly. And I have the energy to do it, right? Because you and I, we can make 100 decisions that were minutia. And then when it comes to a big thing, it might be cluttered, or we might not be thinking clearly. So again, you're so right. Like when you look at billionaires, the only reason why they're billionaires is they think different. And I don't care if you're a Bitcoin billionaire, like, oh, well, he made his money really fast. No.
But they went for it.
He clearly made a decision. Like that's the thing. Like anybody, you cannot be the only ones who don't have that or lottery winners. That's why lottery winners lose all their money. Like
they lose all their money.
Their thought process didn't match up with that money. But you got a billionaire, they attract $1 billion or billion. How about the billionaires? They lost their money and they made it back in 2 or 3 years.
Oh, I would love to make a great point on that real quick. I think there's a distinct difference between the rich and the wealthy. And I'm pretty sure we spoke about this last time I talked to you, Doc. And to me, a rich person is someone that, they come from money, their parents gave them money, or someone gifted them money, or they win the lottery, or whatever the case may be. Then you have a wealthy person, is someone who is primarily self-made. You're from the lower or the middle class, and you worked your way up. And now you're at the same stature as the rich people. Let's say you're both worth $10 million. Now, the rich person, if they happen to lose that $10 million from a lawsuit or a terrible forest fire, whatever the case may be, something happens, they lose their money. That rich person, 9 times out of 10, absolutely will not be able to recreate that money. But the wealthy person, the person that came from less, who had a fight to get that money, like if you find a homeless person, he becomes a millionaire. I guarantee that man will always be able to become a millionaire no matter what he chooses to pursue. So if he loses that $10 million because he had this big butterfly company and all the butterflies die, let's say, and he's back to zero, he will recreate another stream of income that he can generate the same amount of money, if not even surpass it, because now he's learned what that mistake was and he's refined it and retuned it to become even more successful. And it's purely because of mindset. And I think it's fascinating to me how you can have two people. They start out from the exact same background, families exactly the same, both lower class or both middle class, let's say. And one of the guys, by the time they're 60, they're making $70K a year, they retire. But the other one can be making $10 million a year. But there was no difference when they were younger, except for their mindset. They're both human. They both grew up with the same backgrounds. Let's say they go through the same struggles, the same successes up to a certain point. And what happens? What clicks differently that one guy can only make 70 grand and one guy makes 10 million? And it's just purely mindset. It's the way they look at things, the way they go after things. Like you said, the decision making. It's just all crucial stuff that has to be worked out in the mind for you to actually create the wealth in real life.
Right. I mean, it's just because education doesn't teach and words don't teach. It's experience is the teacher.
Yep. Exactly. Well, that's a good point. Like we were talking about last time, because I want to make this podcast, motivational, you learn about how to
Yes.
achieve success. I want to make it a little practical too. So whoever's listening on in, I know there's going to be a broad audience, but what would you think? We spoke about this last time. If you're a younger person, now traditional schooling is not going to teach you how to become successful as an entrepreneur or whatever it may be. School can teach you how to be a good doctor or a good lawyer. Don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be able to teach you how to be the best butterfly Instagrammer, let's say, right? So if you're younger and you're listening under this podcast, and younger doesn't have to be like you're in grammar school, you could be, you graduate college, you're still young, and you're thinking while you listen to this podcast, well, guys, this is all great motivating stuff. You guys lit a fire in my stomach, but what the fuck can I do practically to really get myself to do what I want to do? Even though you don't see there's much money in it right now, how can you go to that angle? And we talked about it last time that you should apprentice somewhere. And
Always 100%.
Like if you're an apprentice, go ahead.
An apprentice, you don't need money to apprentice. You just you go to someone. Well, here's the thing: if I really want to do something, and I have no freaking clue on how to do it, the quickest way to the top is to go to that person, be like, listen, I know you don't know me, but I want to work for you for free. This is like you're living a dream of mine, and I don't want anything to get in the way for that. So let me work for free. And if you appreciate what I do, if you find I add value and you do want to eventually pay me, great. But just to be able to be exposed to your experience, so I could be able to do what you're doing at the same level, or hopefully, God bless, someday surpass it. I mean, that would be a dream come true.
Well, right there, what you said, you would offer your services to that wealthier person or the expert in your field. You would offer to them your service for free. So I think that's really important that you said that, because me and you think the same way, and that's how I would position myself as well. But I think there's a lot of people that are listening on in. They wouldn't even thought of that. They would be like, okay, I'm going to go find the expert and ask to work for them, but expect compensation. So I think, because I see it a lot on Instagram too, and I'm sure you do on social media, I get a lot of messages from people asking and wanting stuff from me without offering any value to me. Which me and you, we're both servant leaders. So we're going to dispose some type of information to them to help them and get them in the right state of mind. But most often than none, if you go to these experts and these successful people and you reach out to them and you want to get something from them and you do not show or offer any type of value to them, that's just not how life works. This guy you want to learn from him, but you have no value to give him. So work for free. That's the value you're giving him. I have an extra body in the office to get me coffee, even if it's something as simple as that. To him, that's value. It's something he doesn't have to do, a minute task that goes back to that. You're giving him value.
Yeah, there was a story in Think and Grow Rich, which everybody should read a couple times a year. So there's a guy, he says he had this dream. He's like, I want to work for Thomas Edison. No, because I don't want to work for Thomas Edison. I'm going to be his business partner. So back in the 1920s, Edison was like the inventor. He was like the Elon Musk of the day. There you go. And so he's like, I'm going to be his business partner. And so he didn't have money for a train to go to, New York. So the guy freaking, gets this one suit he has, and he hops on a freight train and he kind of like hijacks himself. He gotta kind of, he sneaks to.
He's resourceful.
He walks into the office to meet with Thomas Edison. He's like, Mr. Edison. Like he was waiting for him. He's like, listen, my name's so-and-so, and I came here, and is my desire. I'm going to work and partner with you someday. And it's been a dream of mine, and I know I could bring some amazing stuff to the value. And Edison, they were called Edison. Edison was like, there was something unique about that guy. Like, he really couldn't give him a job. Like, he couldn't partner with him. But he's like, well, I definitely remember something stood out. So he's like, listen, I really don't have anything for you, and you really haven't proved anything to me. But I'm sure in the building we could get you a job doing something. So he literally was down like doing janitor type stuff. And anything, and like you said, any nicks and knacks or things, almost like a multi-purpose guy to do whatever. And then Edison created something called an Epiphone, and the Epiphone was really cool. It's like you and I were on this podcast, and you would speak into something, and the freaking thing would type out the words. And so everybody's like, so Edison's main salespeople was like, this is we're not really we're not really into this product. You just made this invention. And Edison's like, no, this thing's awesome. No, you're going to speak into this thing, and it's going to transcribe it into text, like dictate it. And they're like, we just really don't think it's going to sell. And so all his top salespeople, Edison felt like he was the only one who liked this idea. So all his salespeople were like, I really don't know. They were kind of backing out. And then this guy, even though he didn't want to work for Edison, he wanted to be his partner. So he worked doing knickknacks and cleaning the toilet bowls, whatever he needed to do for friggin' not months, guys, years. And then he found the opportunity. He heard these sales guys he heard the sales guys down the hall bickering about, I can't, we don't like this product. And then he says he was just kind of cleaning something. He heard that. He says, oh my God, 4 or 5 years later, I have my opportunity. So he runs to Edison's office. He's like, listen, I know you love your invention. I love your invention. I'm going to be your top sales guy. Mm-hmm. And so Edison, he started selling it. He killed it. Edison gave him control of distributorship over the entire nation, and they wound up becoming partners. And he was actually his right-hand man for 30 years, becoming a multi-millionaire, which was probably equivalent to a billionaire back in the 20s. Yep. Just because, what was the story, guys? Here's a guy who had nothing but an imagination, who lived 1,000 miles away saying, I want to work for equivalent. Not do I want to work for it. It's like I was saying, I'm going to be Elon Musk's partner. Mm-hmm. A business partner. And then we go and we like hitchhike or couch surf all the way to wherever Elon Musk is at. And we finally see him in the hallway and we tell, hey, Elon. And, imagine all the people that go to pitch that guy. Hey, I'm going to work for you. He's like, okay, sure. I'm going to be your partner. Got it. Well, maybe you could work for Tesla and maybe you could clean up some of the steel fragments and sweep the floor, I guess, And then here, 5 years later, you're working and you don't like your damn job. Well, this is beautiful full circle with this podcast. You don't like your job. You hate the job. You hate the commute. But even though you dislike it, there's still that basic foundation saying, I came here not to work for him. I came here to be his business partner. And I'm going to work here as long as I freaking need to until I find my opportunity. And imagine 5 years down the road, he invents something. People kind of go against him. And then you're like, you know what, man? I'll step up. I'll sell it. And you rock it. And he's like, you know what? Good job, Tony. You're going to be my partner on this. And we're going to partner and create a bunch of shit together. Yep. That was how the story worked. So, so think about that. Think about the resolve. Think about even though he never knew when that opportunity came. He says, literally, Tony, in the book, the guy said, I would have worked in the basement for the rest of my life until I get my opportunity, because my burning desire is that, working for Edison would have been a good plan B. Hey, maybe my goal was just working. No, he's like, no. My vision was not working for him. My vision was to be his partner. And he says, I would have went till the day I died waiting for that opportunity. And it came 5 years later.
Yeah. And I think that's important. You said that. I think it's beautiful. I came full circle this podcast with that, but a lot of people might be saying, oh, that's just sheer luck. And I personally don't believe in luck. I know you don't believe in luck. I know many other successful people do not believe in luck. I don't even know what luck is because it's not a thing to us. To us, it's, grind and hustle or hard work finally meets opportunity.
Yes. Preparation. Yeah. Yes.
What people don't understand, though, is this, a lot of people like to say patience is a virtue. And I don't believe in patience as a virtue. I believe in aggressive patience, when you need to understand that whatever it is you want is achievable within a certain time. Now, you may not be able to determine that time because you're not a fortune teller, but what aggressive patience is, every single day, you plow closer and closer and closer, and you do something to work upon getting to that goal. But you're understanding that it's not going to be a quick thing. So you're aggressively being patient. Not this patience is a virtue, just sit there, fat, dumb, and happy, wait for stuff to happen to you. This aggressive patience, like the guy in Think and Grow Rich, he was the janitor. That's aggressive patience. Now, it took him 5 years, but on the converse side, it could have taken him to the day he died. But he was
30 years
to do
yes,
that.
Or nothing. You're right.
It's either I'm going to achieve it or I'm going to die, and that's it. And when you go into something with that mindset, that is how you achieve that goal. And I'm guaranteed, because that's how he went into it, Chris, is because that's why he achieved it in only 5 years. If he went into it with a different attitude, like, okay, I'll do this and I'll settle at being cleaning his place, he would have been a cleaner till he died. But because he never lost sight of that vision, never got comfortable, and never just lost sight of his purpose and who he is, he was able to achieve it in 5 years.
Well, absolutely. And then it also tied in the whole, like you said, decision. He made the decision with a burning desire. Like, the decision wasn't, hey, I'm going to work. No, the decision was like, no, I'm going to be his right-hand man. Like, and how about this? I don't see how, and I'm not worried about the how. I just know why and what I want to do. And like, you're right. He made the decision. There was no going back. There was no getting back on a train and retreating back to where he came from. Like, there's something so powerful, and I'll just name off names: Schwarzenegger, Stallone.
Absolutely.
I mean, I could just name off like every single one of them had just that. There is absolutely no retreat. There's no, this is it. Burning the bridges. Like, there was a burning desire that I have, and I will not entertain any other option than that idea that I came up with.
Yeah. People say, oh, Tony, or, I'm sure they said this to you. What's your plan B if everything fails? And I look at them and I'll say, well, my plan B is to find a new way to make plan A work, because I chose plan A for a reason. To me, it has purpose, that plan A. So if you're thinking of plan A and you're like, okay, I'm going to make plan B, C, and D just in case, you're already lost. Plan A is not succeeding. But if you think of plan A as in plan A will only succeed and that is it, well, guess what? Plan A will succeed at some point in time. So I think that's important to hold true to yourself, that you can't think of the what if I fail and you make a backup plan. No, just put all your eggs towards your plan. And now it doesn't have to be just one thing. It could be a few things. You could have a plan A for like 4 different companies that you want to have. Once you start one, then you start the other, then you start the third, and you start the fourth. So plan A doesn't have to be just one plan for one thing. I don't want you guys to think, okay, Tony, you're just talking about one single stream of income. That's bullshit. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying plan A for whatever it is you want to do at that point in time. There's no plan B. Plan B is just to figure it the fuck out.
Oh, 1,000,000%, dude.
Mm-hmm. So I think
love it, man. All right, well, let's shut this thing down.
Yeah, so I'm gonna.
I mean, we could talk. Well, you and I, we could talk for 2-3 hours, but I know the purpose of your podcast is to have. This is for the outlier. This is for the genius. This is for the hero. Who is putting in the hours. It's dark out. You're staying past the sun, and then you're beating the sun. You're waking up before the sun wakes up, right? So this is the person that's putting all that extra time, the hours, and it's absolutely normal to feel, well, maybe I should do a plan B, or maybe this isn't a good idea. But so hopefully this podcast, you should be listening during that time when you are hustling and grinding right now, and maybe you're frustrated right now. Maybe your eyes are bleeding because you've been on Google all night and you just really came up with no research. If anything, you came up with more freaking questions and problems. And like, it's during this time when you have to be reminded that if you eliminate all other options and you don't give any other choice but succeeding, that's how succeeding happens.
Yep, exactly. I love that. That's actually perfect. So I hope you guys were listening in. You guys were taking notes. I think this is a good podcast to be listening to. Be active, have a pen and a piece of paper, jot some things down, or go back and re-listen to it. Doc, I want to welcome you, because in Midnight Motivation, the listeners, I call them my mob. And my mob, it stands for Made of Bosses, MOB. And a boss, what's a boss, man? We're bosses. We're built on self-sacrifice, BOSS, right there.
I love it.
Doc, welcome to the mob. All the listeners in, thank you, my mob, for listening in to us. We have a new member. This was a phenomenal podcast. Me and the rest of the mob would love to thank you, Doc, for taking time out of your busy day and schedule to come on here and preach all this amazing wisdom from all your experiences. So I hope, guys, you got great information out of this. If you did,
one more thing, Tony. One more thing. Hey, and if you listen to this right now, guys, and you appreciate this, like what Tony's doing is really amazing, and you could see he has a heart for this. He could be hustling on his own right now, right? Doing for him. But so if you really appreciate this, make sure you give this a 5-star review. Put a great content and share it. Okay. So, because that's how you expand it. And if you want to show love or appreciation, like, I can't high five you right now, but the best high five you can give is 5-star, share, like to others. And we'll be extremely grateful. And, you're helping Tony support the other mobs and the other bosses.
Yep, exactly. Absolutely. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, guys, like I said, if you guys appreciate my message, let's share it to as many people as we possibly can. That's the whole point of this podcast. Me and Doc, we're not getting any financial gain from this. This is all purely about helping you guys. We don't have to do this, but we want to do this. So Doc, tell us, where can we follow you? Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, podcast. Where can we find you if they want to look for you?
Yeah, let's keep this conversation going, guys. I answer all my comments and DMs. So just go to Facebook or Instagram, and you'll see me under Dr. Zaino. It's DRZ as in zebra, AINO. N as in Nancy, O. So Dr. Zaino on Facebook or Instagram. I give content for you guys every single day. And then I have really good stuff for mindset that'll get you, especially with time management, time expansion. So if you go to this great site I have called I Am Hero, iamhero.com, I have 4 masterclasses that I made for you guys, all on me. And the only way you can get there is if you go to that URL and pick whichever one relates to you. There's one, I think time expansion is a good one. That's how you expand time, because now that you're hustling and you're like, wow, there's 24 hours in a day, I teach you how to expand that. They have I Am Value, how to get value in your product, service, idea, 1 month to win, just to see that every day you are winning. That's great for those of you that you are waking up with that shit story saying work sucks, life sucks, commute. Well, I'm going to show you how you could turn and see that you're really winning like all day long. And so when you get in the habit of winning, you see yourself, man, I win. I'm not a victim. And then we have the 1 month to win. And then we also, I Am Value. And then we have the Hero Secret Sauce, man. It's like, that was a program I made for you guys where distilling, whether it be Piano Champion, Mr. America, Mr. Universe, largest practice in the world, what I did, financial freedom, worth 10 figures, Lamborghini in the garage, speaking with Tony and you right now. If you're like, what the hell, man? Like, what's the sauce? What's the secret sauce? Well, I actually distilled. I wrote down everything I distilled, the main mindset and actual action factors and characteristic factors that really allowed me and many others to become a success in what they do. And that's the Hero Secret Sauce. So you could just sign up for all of them, man. I don't care. I made them for you anyway, and really enjoy, and then contact me and we'll keep the conversation going.
Yeah, guys, I think it's important that whoever I get on this podcast, especially Dr. Zaino, he has a breadth of knowledge on all the social media platforms. Take advantage of it, guys. That's what we're here to do. That's why he's putting that content out there for you guys. If you're looking for your voice, or if you have your voice and you're struggling, DM us, send us a comment. We answer you. We're here to help you. We want to be your teacher outside of school, because we know it's hard. And like Dr. Zaino said, he's worth 10 figures. But Dr. Zaino, he's a fucking monster. He's a big bodybuilder guy. And you guys look at his Instagram, you'll see, he won Mr. Olympia, but he's a fucking doctor. So he literally took the two complete opposite worlds that most people are like, you can't be a bodybuilder and a doctor. That's fucking crazy. And he did it. So take knowledge away from people like a Dr. Zaino and learn from them. That's what this is all about. You guys need to learn to earn. So, Doc, I got one more question for you before we get off. I want to know, and all my listeners, they're going to want to know, do you hate to lose, or do you love to win?
I love to win, man.
You love to win? Really? Why is that?
Because I'm a winner. That's all I do. You ask my son, you say, hey, what's the Zaino name mean to you? And he's 11. He's like, we're winners. That's what we do. We win.
He's a beast. I love it. I love that. Okay, Doc, well, thank you for being on here. I will talk to you this week. And thank you to all the listeners, my mob. And welcome to any new members of the mob once you subscribe. And we'll be talking to you next time. Catch you all later.
God bless, guys. Thank you.